I love Christmas, I love horror, match the two together, and I am your audience. I wasn't sure what to expect from Mercy Christmas. This is one that I randomly found on Amazon Prime, and when I read the description, it sounded really interesting. And I will say that unfortunately, it didn't live up to my expectations just based purely on that description, but it had some pretty good things going for it. So this was released in 2017, directed by Ryan Nelson, written by Nelson and also Beth Levy Nelson. And this stars a pretty brilliant character, actually. I have to say, in terms of the choice of the victim, I'm pretty over the moon. I think they did an absolutely fantastic job with Briskett as a character. Briskett is played by Stephen Hubbell, and he is invited to this woman's house. He met her the day before, so I'm not really sure why he thought this would be a good idea, but he's been pretty lonely for Christmas. He just spends time with his mother. It's never very festive. He's got this chance to go back to this woman's family home for a bit more of a real Christmas. And when he gets there, he realizes relatively quickly, after eating some ribs that he assumes belong to animals and drinking some eggnog that he doesn't know is spiked, he is then captured and is being prepared to be their Christmas dinner. I do find it unrealistic that this is a family of cannibals. It's, apart from Sonny Bean, this is not really the kind of thing that happens. I could understand maybe one family member having that kind of fetish, but across the whole board, a little bit unrealistic. And the fact that Briskett was known by his boss, who is a member of the family, it felt far too forced. Like they were trying to tie the loose ends and make everything fit together nicely. But by doing that, they tried too hard and just splintered everything. However, I admire the artistic ambition. So the narrative itself wasn't that great. It could have been a lot better. But I think a lot of the technical aspects, the camera work, the sound effects, they were all really good. Now, I'm narrative driven. I'd rather have a relatively basically shot film with a brilliant narrative than a dull narrative that's a technical beauty. But I could still enjoy certain aspects of it. We had some brilliant angles with Briskett as a character, with his Christmas jumper wrapped in Christmas lights, really just eye-catching and very dramatic. There were not too many dark scenes because he's not the only one who's captured. There are several other people. They're in this room that's shrouded in plastic. It's very dim. There's not much light. They made a good choice to not film too much in that space because this is meant to be a comedy horror. They kept the rooms very well lit for the most part. And that's really essential for this kind of film because you need to make it not feel like a horror, because you need to make it feel like everything you're watching is normal and everyday. And of course it isn't, and that's meant to be the shock factor. There was a little bit of shock factor now and again when I didn't expect them to go quite so far. This is an 18, I believe, it's worth pointing out. But ultimately, apart from the special effects, the sound effects, and some pretty great camera angles, I think it could have had a lot more going for it. There were too many coincidences. The character of the police officer, just unnecessary, completely unnecessary. It tried too hard to take what could have been a light-hearted comedy horror, or as light-hearted as cannibalism can be, and they kind of just overdid it to the point where it was ruined. You don't want your Christmas turkey to be burnt, and that's kind of what happened here. So I didn't really enjoy watching it, but there were times when I looked at the screen and thought, that is a beautiful shot, that is a beautiful moment, that's very well edited. So if you like that aspect of cinema, I think you will enjoy certain aspects of this. If you like comedy horrors or horror-based Christmas films, give it a go. There might be something in there for you. But if you're just looking for a good comedy horror and you don't mind the subgenres or anything, there are others that I'd watch before this. Not the worst film, but it definitely could have been better.